Are we cool?
Oh, we're always cool, Representative.
I try.
I put my papers too close to the edge of the table. He's gonna eat them.
Wouldn't be the education committee if a dog wasn't eating somebody's homework.
All right. What did I do? Just set down all my bills. Now I don't know where I put them. There we go. Good morning. And welcome to the 130th Maine State Legislature. This is the Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Joe Rafferty, and I am the senator down in District 34, which encompasses much of York County. And this morning we are here for a public hearing on 4 bills. We're going to go through LD 313, LD 777, LD 975, and LD 1072. Prior to doing so, I'm going to ask that my committee members take a second to introduce themselves. And following introductions, I'll just go through a couple of basic ground rules as we proceed. But first up this morning will be Senator Daughtry, followed by, excuse me, Senator Daughtry.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I am Maddie Daughtry, and I represent State Senate District 24, which are the communities of Brunswick, Hartswell, North Yarmouth, and Freeport. And I always say Hartswell, but I want to remind everyone that my district includes many amazing islands such as Orrs and Bailey Island as well.
Thank you. Senator Woodson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dave Woodson, State Senator from District 33 in York County, covering areas of Sanford to Parsonsfield along the New Hampshire border.
Thank you. Representative Crockett.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Ed Crockett, District 43, which is part of Portland and part of Falmouth.
Thank you. Representative Dodge.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jan Dodge, House District 97, representing Belfast, Northport, and Waldo.
Thank you. And Representative Lyman.
Good morning, Sheila Lyman, District 74, J, Livermore Falls, part of Livermore, and I'm here at the Capitol. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Millette.
Good morning, I'm Rebecca Millette. I represent House District 30, which is most of Cape Elizabeth.
Thank you. Representative Roach.
Morning, everyone. Representative Tim Roach, representing the District 7, the town of Wells, a beautiful town of Wells, which is about, I have a feeling, to come very busy this weekend.
I believe you are accurate in that one, sir. Representative Salisbury.
Good morning. I am Sue Salisbury, and I represent House District 35, which is part of Westbrook.
Thank you. Representative Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. Lovely, lovely spring day. Makes me want to go outside and play and not be sitting in front of a computer. But anyway, I am here, House District. I represent House District 21. That's Alfred, Limerick, Shapley, Newfield, and Parsonsfield.
Thank you. And Representative Stearns, please.
Good morning. My name is Paul Stearns. I represent House District 119, which consists of 12 towns in the unorganized territories of Piscataquis County.
Thank you all very much. And folks, it's quite possible you're going to see some of our membership join, and some may also leave, as we have folks working in and out of other committees in terms of testifying. Please keep in mind that this is a meeting that's being carried out electronically. Should you have any issues or in that area, our committee clerk, Sam Baker, will be able to help you, or we hope assist you in any way. So this morning's meeting is going to be live streamed, and it'll be on the committee's YouTube channel. It means that anyone that is a participant in the meeting via the Zoom can be seen and heard. So just caution you to remember to mute yourself as needed. And people on the Zoom meeting waiting to testify cannot be seen or heard until they are called into the meeting and asked to speak. When you are called in, if you would please be sure that your name is visible in your picture square, and you introduce yourself, your town at which you reside, and also any affiliation that you may have and may be representing today. Thank you. The first bill that we are going to hear will be LD 313, which is an act to advance career and technical education opportunities in Maine. And I will call that hearing open. And now I have to pull up my other screen here, of course. This morning, our first person will be our committee member and lead sponsor of this bill, Senator Woodson, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Rafferty and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. I'm Dave Woodson, Senator from District 33, which covers 7 towns: Sanford, Waterboro, Shapley, Newfield, Limerick, Cornish, and Parsonsfield. I'm honored today to be here to introduce LD 313, an act to advance career and technical education opportunities in Maine. Career and technical education, also known as CTE, is the modern equivalent of what we used to call SHOP decades ago. However, as the kinds of professions that do not necessarily require a college degree become more and more sophisticated, the needs of these types of work and technical skills required have become much more complicated. Today, automobile engines are vastly different and complex. They include sophisticated electronics that vary among manufacturers. New technologies such as hybrid and fully electric vehicles have greatly increased the cost of teaching what was once a simple engine repair. To adapt and become more efficient, school districts teamed up to provide one CTE center that serves several different schools, spreading out the cost of equipment and training and allowing more opportunities in each CTE school. The enormous upside of this advancement technology is that a young person who chooses one of these professions can expect a much higher salary for their work after they become certified than in the past, and usually far fewer years of learning and much lower education debt is incurred. The goals of this bill are to create a process that allows students to explore their interest in career and technical education and allow them to try out different skill areas, create a career and technical education business roundtable where interested employees will identify their workforce needs now and in the future, and address existing barriers to expanding comprehensive CTE programs by recommending changes to the CTE certification process, to address the shortage of teachers by acknowledging skills demonstrated in the real world of trade or profession. Overall, my hope is that this bill will help create model pathways for students to learn and demonstrate their knowledge in the CTE setting, while creating programs that address the state's critical skilled workforce shortage. I have been fortunate to be elected 4 times to the Maine Senate. This is my last term. But in each campaign season that I was out there, I would say that one of the number one concerns of parents was for their children to get a education that would help them stay in Maine and make a decent living. And this bill is designed to do that. I am in hopes that the following speakers will dive into more details than what I've given you here. But this is a very critical issue for Maine students, and our future economy. So I thank you for your listening and appreciate your support.
Thank you, Senator. Does anyone have any questions at this time for Senator Woodson? Seeing none, sir. Oh, Representative Millette.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Senator. Thank you for this bill. This is a concept draft, so I'm wondering, do you or someone following you have written suggested language for an actual bill?
I do not. I have been working with several stakeholders, and I'm hoping that some of them will discuss that shortly. And if not, then I'll definitely get it for the work session.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, then I'm going to ask the next speaker up will be Mr. Lucas, Ben Lucas, and Ben will be speaking for the bill. And just so the audience knows, generally those folks supporting the bill will be heard from first, followed by anyone that speaks against the bill, and finally anyone that's neither for nor against. So, Mr. Lucas, good morning.
Senator Rafferty, thank you. Yeah, Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, members of the Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Ben Lucas. I live in Portland, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Maine Jobs Council. The Maine Jobs Council is a new statewide, nonpartisan, member-driven advocacy organization that advances public policies to support the creation and preservation of foundational jobs in Maine. I am here today to testify in support of LD 313. Maine has a serious workforce issue. We have an aging workforce and not enough young people staying here or moving here. According to the Maine Center for Workforce Research and Information, the number of people in Maine over the age of 65 will increase by 113,000 in the next 5 years. In that same time period, the number of workers between the ages of 16 and 64 will decline by 31,000. In fact, a report published just this week by New Center Maine noted that our retiring workers will leave 158,000 open jobs in Maine over the next 5 years. Maine needs to act urgently to develop a long-term plan that helps our workforce and keeps jobs in Maine. We believe LD 313 would help accomplish this. As stated, this bill proposes to create a process that allows high school students, including freshmen and sophomores, to explore their interest in career and technical education. We believe this change could improve the workforce issue in Maine. Refocusing some of the K-12 education system on CTE programs is a great start. Not all Maine students are destined for four-year colleges, yet that has been the primary focus of most K-12 education. Maine needs an overall strategic plan for the attraction of foundational jobs that can inform students about future employment opportunities and needed skills. If this legislation passes, it'll make more Maine students aware of the opportunities that exist to get a job and start making a good wage. This can be a pipeline for jobs, help move our economy forward, and help address the pending workforce crisis. Foundational jobs add value, create wealth, and bring revenue into Maine. Foundational jobs require having a skilled workforce, and CTE programs are a great way for the workforce to develop skills. They also require advanced skills for Maine students in new industries with advanced technologies. As our economy is rapidly changing Being able to have our students adapt to new innovations in industries is critical to keeping people employed and keeping jobs in Maine. In closing, we want to thank Senator Woodson for bringing this legislation forward. We also want to thank Speaker Fecto for being a co-sponsor and thank the group of bipartisan members who have supported this legislation. We encourage this committee to pass LD 313. Thank you for allowing me to testify, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions at this time of Mr. Lucas, please? Sir, seeing none, thank you very much for being here, and thanks for your work and your new role as the director of the Maine Jobs Council. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing and hearing more from you.
Yeah, thank you, Senator.
Have a great day.
You too.
Next up is Vaughn Woodruff.
Doesn't look like Vaughn is with us currently, Senator. Would you like to move on to the next one?
Yes, please. Thank you. And
And it looks like I made a typo. It looks like Ben Lucas is on there a second time. So maybe Jessica.
I thought maybe Ben had a twin. Thank you. So if we could, sure, Jessica would be great. I think that's Ms. Lila Birdie.
Good morning, Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Jessica La Liberty. I'm the Policy Relations Manager for the Manufacturers Association of Maine, a nonpartisan pro-growth, pro-manufacturing industry organization representing hundreds of manufacturing businesses in our great state and thousands of employees they employ. We are proud to offer our comments in support of LD 313, an act to advance career and technical education opportunities in Maine. Manufacturing in Maine plays a vital role in the United States and globally. Our industry employs nearly 55,000 people and accounts for 12% of all wages paid in the state. We are struggling. Our workers are aging out, and there are a few waiting to fill the job openings in 1,600 manufacturing companies across Maine. Today, there are roughly 4,000 open positions in various manufacturing sectors, from wood composite, biotech, boat building, metal, paper, food and beverage manufacturing, to name a few. These are good paying jobs, and the average salary is $58,000 a year. We are facing a workforce crisis, and we need help now. LD 313 tackles the workforce challenge in many ways. First, this proposal seeks to expose more students to career and technical education programming by allowing freshmen and sophomores to experience various CTE classes. We believe increased access and exposure to CTE classes will lead to more students enrolling in CTE. The bill seeks to create a career and technical education business roundtable where interested employers would identify their workforce needs now and those of the future, including required skill sets, ensuring that the state's career and technical education programs fit business needs today, and provide partners in on-the-job training. This is something that our association strongly supports and desires to be a part of. Additionally, LD 313 would remove barriers from skilled industry folks desiring to teach in CTE programs, but are kept away because of certification requirements. Industry certification is the gold standard. Alternative certification requirements would also help to address the shortage in CTE staffing. This bill creates multiple pathways for students, allows qualified and willing instructors to provide top quality instruction, and would help to build a workforce pipeline our industry desperately needs. For these reasons, the Manufacturers Association of Maine strongly supports this bill and asks the committee to unanimously vote ought to pass. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
Yes, Representative Sampson has a questions for you. Please, thank you.
Thank you for being here today. I'm going to put this for those that are out there listening in the little dark waiting room and to you. I would like to ask this question. Actually, I have two questions. What barriers do you see that are in place And how should those be removed? So that's sort of a dual question in one. And the second question is, what do you feel is the most pressing issue that is facing the career and technical education in Maine?
I don't believe that it's promoted to all students. I think there's a perception that students are shown one pathway. That's a 4-year college degree. Manufacturing pays very well. And I think that the image of manufacturing is often one that's not accurate. They often, I think, have that old view of somebody coming out of a tunnel in a paper mill with a lunchbox. There are many jobs in manufacturing beyond that. So I think making students aware of multiple pathways to prosperity is critical. Exposing them early and often to these opportunities shows them that there are other means of employment when they graduate. You know, the Bridge Academy is a great program where these kids are getting college education while earning a marketable skill upon graduation. So I think exposing kids early and often to show them that there are other things beside a 4-year degree.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other questions? I have one, just trying to get some idea. I know that I know there's a shortage, but I'm not sure exactly at how encompassing it is. In terms of the removing of the barriers, I know that's trying to get folks from the working world in potentially to help and become teachers in the various areas, which I've seen some of over the years, but not a ton of. So you have any idea of what those potential upcoming shortfalls are in terms of teachers able to do this subject matter?
Well, as someone who spent 10 years in the classroom but did not get an undergraduate degree in education, I can tell you that the biggest challenge was really the praxis test. That is something that historically we've heard from industry folks that is something that frightens them. If you haven't taken algebra in a long time and then you have to go and take a praxis test, that is an obstacle, that is a barrier. These folks from industry have national certifications behind them. They are highly skilled, highly qualified in their subject matter, and they bring tremendous real world experience into the classroom. And I think that's something that should be recognized, that value of the industry knowledge.
Thanks very much. Anyone else, folks? Yes, Representative Millette, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Ms. Liberty. We had another bill recently that was talking about how to provide high school credits basically for graduation from CTE programs as a way to recognize the Maine learning results content that's in CTE programs. So given your last comment about concerns with having to understand algebra when you're coming in from the workforce, do you see that there could be some conflict between those two goals of wanting to get recognition of learning content areas within CTE programs, but perhaps having folks that don't have the content area that we're hoping to recognize? I don't know if that made sense, but.
Well, are you asking about for potential educators coming in from industry?
Right. So yeah. So on one hand, we're talking about here about removing barriers. One of which is the praxis exam, which I believe is being addressed in the department bill. But it just kind of popped into my head because now we also had a bill that said we should try to find a way for high schools to recognize more of the work that's happening in CTEs. But if folks are coming into CTEs without that basic educational content area background, then perhaps there could be some barriers then to recognizing or valuing that work for high school credits.
Well, I would have to look at the bill that you've made reference to. I don't feel adequately prepared to comment on that portion, but I will say that, I mean, if they have industry certification, they have to maintain that certification. So these potential industry folks who would seek to go into the classroom, they're up to date on their skill in their content area. But I don't feel adequately prepared to answer about the other bill that you referenced because I haven't looked at that. I apologize.
Thank you. Representative Crockett, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Liberty, thank you for bringing up the whole, high school students having other options. You may want to take a look at LD 68, which is a proposal that I have submitted in, and I've been working with the Department of Education with respect to adding language into 20A under life and career ready category. It'll be a new category in the statutes. That's something that we're going to be looking at some point here this session. And I think that addresses a piece of what we're talking about today. So you can get a chance, just take a peek at LD 68. If it has any correlation to today's discussion, that's great. So no, more just a heads up on that.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Any other questions, folks? Seeing none, Ms. Laliberty, thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate you being here, and you have a great day.
Thank you. Likewise.
Before I bring in the next person, Sam, I'm going to give Representative Brennan an opportunity to introduce himself as Mr. Hess is transitioning.
Thank you, Senator Rafferty. I'm Michael Brennan. I represent District 36, which is part of Portland. And there's a good chance fairly soon I might be moving to another committee as well. I just got back from Health and Human Services, and I still have to go to Criminal Justice. So thank you.
Well, thank you and good luck.
And Senator, I caught my mistake. So instead of the second Ben Lucas, we have a Brian Park, if you would like for us to go to him.
Sure, if we missed him, absolutely. I think then Mr. Hess would be after that.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Terrific. Good morning, Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, members of the Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Brian Park. I am the president and CEO of the Maine Motor Transport Association and a resident of Senator Daughtry's hometown of Brunswick. The association is comprised of 1,600 member companies whose employees make up a large portion of the more than 33,000 people who make their living in the trucking industry in Maine. I am here to testify in support for LD 313 because our industry, like most heavy industries in Maine, face a continuing workforce shortage, and we believe our career and technical education centers could be an important component to addressing those challenges. For background, trucks in America move more than 11 billion tons of freight, which accounts for 71% of all the domestic freight tonnage. Our industry generated $797 billion in annual revenue in 2018, and we moved the lion's share of the international trade with both Canada and Mexico. In Maine, 98% of all manufactured tonnage moves by truck, and more than 84% of Maine communities depend exclusively on trucks to move their goods. But this can't be done without safe and professional truck drivers, skilled equipment technicians, and the support staff behind the scenes that make our nation's supply and distribution chains efficient. The truck driver shortage in particular is expected to grow worse in the coming years as more drivers move into retirement and the demand for freight transportation increases. According to the most recent numbers from the American Trucking Associations, over the next decade, it is projected that the trucking industry will need to hire roughly 1.1 million new drivers, or an average of nearly 110,000 per year to keep up with demand. This workforce shortage will inevitably have negative impacts on the economy, and the cost of shipping goods will have to increase. As an industry, we've identified many different ways to address this shortage. Many trucking companies are changing their routing to allow for more driver time at home, as well as changing compensation levels and implementing creative strategies that will address driver attraction and retention. Another focus has been on expanding the recruiting pool to make driving careers attractive to everyone who is qualified, including women, minorities, and young people who might not otherwise consider trucking as a career. We know we need to do a better job connecting to the next generation of truckers, and we see supporting CTE programs through this bill as a good step. We further support the formation of a career and technical education business roundtable and would offer our participation and perspective as an industry with long-term workforce needs. Thank you for your consideration and for allowing me to submit written testimony. In answer to Representative Sampson's question about barriers and how to remove them, the trucking industry is somewhat unique in that we have insurance, age requirements. There are federal requirements when it comes to trucking, but I would agree with Ms. LaLiberty in that the perception of blue collar work and pushing multiple pathways to good paying vocational jobs is something that we're seeing as well, both for truck drivers, for technicians, for warehouse personnel. But again, it's insurance and age restriction problems that aren't addressed here. But we see supporting CTE programs as just one step in a multi-step solution to the workforce shortage problem.
Thank you, sir. I do have some questions, if you would. Representative Dodge, followed by Representative Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Thank you for being here. My question is around the CDL programs that may or may not be offered at some CTE centers. Do you or could we for the work session have that particular siloed information, please?
Certainly, yeah. It's a great question and something that, so our association just embarked on a workforce development campaign in an effort to attract the younger generation to our industry. So we have a list of all of the both private and vocational programs out there, and I can certainly provide that list for you.
Thank you, sir. Representative Sampson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Great to see you, Mr. Park.
Likewise.
So just a real quick question. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not sure you know, but this would be relevant to the discussion on the trucking industry. How many of our CTE facilities, centers and regions actually are training students to do this?
I will endeavor to get that information for you. I don't know exactly how many. One of the barriers for CDL programs is equipment and ensuring that equipment. So I know there's been some time that's passed, but we met with the CTE folks up in Bangor, and they were having trouble getting not only equipment for a CDL program, but getting equipment that was updated with the most latest technology and environmental controls and those types of things in order for them to have a technician program that was, up to today's standards. So I'll work my hardest to get that information before the work session.
Thank you. Can I have a follow-up, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. So you were going down the same line of thinking I was as far as the up-to-date technology that is now being used. It would be worth knowing what the most critical, my line of questioning, I basically am putting it out there for people, is if we are trying to overcome barriers, let's specifically look at what they are in the different disciplines and what are the most critical top pressing issues. And so that we actually we compile a list here so that as we shape this language for this bill, we actually have something that's really coming from the industries that are most impacted. So that's where I want to go to. So maybe I'm not even asking the right questions, you may know, because I don't know what I don't know, you may know more, and those following you may know more. So I'm asking for assistance in how to help move this concept forward into something very concrete, hitting the target with specific objectives.
I understand. I certainly understand your question. I agree. I agree with what it is that you're asking, and I will get what the information that I can gather between now and the work session. I will provide to Sam.
Super. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just speaking of the barriers, I would imagine, is it not true that the age currently, so a typical kid isn't 18 till his senior year in high school, so.
So in Maine, you can actually drive at 16 with your commercial driver's license. There are, there's air mile restrictions. You can't go in interstate commerce until you're 21 and those types of things. So in Maine, what in a perfect world, what we'd love to see is individuals get their CDLs at 16, work on the farm, work around the house, find an uncle that you could drive with, gain a little bit more experience, then work in the woods, work construction, where you can do those kinds of jobs where it's a controlled environment for safety. And then if what you want is to go over the road and see the entire country, at 21 you'll have all the experience that you need. So that would kind of be like our pipeline that we'd like to see.
Thank you. Any other questions, folks, for Mr. Park? Sir, thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate you being here and looking forward to working this through.
Thank you
Have
very
a good
much.
day.
You too.
I think Mr. Hess is coming up next. Also speaking for.
Good morning, Senator Rafferty and Representative Brennan, and the extraordinarily hardworking members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. Not only has this been a whirlwind week for all of you in the committee, but in your other duties and your other committees as well. I think it's prudent just to acknowledge that here on a Friday morning, which is not necessarily a time we often get to see one another. So thank you for your service. And in that regard, Senator Rafferty, but before I begin my testimony, if my dog identification software is working properly, I'll say I think we need more golden retrievers in public service.
I'm with you. Thank you.
My name's Wilson Hess. I'm chair of the State Board of Education, and I'm here today on behalf of the State Board to speak in support of LD 313, an act to advance career and technical education opportunities in Maine. The State Board of Education believes that Maine students should be afforded robust, high quality and comprehensive educational offerings that lead to careers which may be enhanced by, but do not require traditional 2 or 4 year advanced degree programs. In high school programs, college readiness receives a lot of attention. Career-centered pathways deserve the same. The State Board, in concert with the CTE division of the Department of Education, prepared a 5-year strategic plan for federal approval for the Perkins 5 funds, which support career and technical education statewide. In doing so, many of the entities and the individuals who've already testified were part of a broad-based input process, which was captured, I think, quite masterfully by Mr. Dwight Littlefield and his staff from the CTE division of the Department of Education. I'd commend that report to you. That plan specifically endorses, and I quote, increasing access to CTE for all students by reducing barriers such as high school scheduling at the secondary level, end quote, and quote, increasing experiences in grades 9 through 12 CTE programs with special emphasis on grade 9 and 10 concentrators, end quote. In regard to the 9th and 10th grade students, I would note that the State Board of Education has invested some $500,000 of Perkins funds in the last several years in support of pilots, the development of pilots and the operation of pilots. We have an external assessment of that that I would take note of. So the concept draft of LD 313, we believe, is consistent with those particular goals of the State Board's Perkins plan. The State Board looks forward to seeing a more fully developed narrative for this bill. And before I close, I would like to anticipate an attempt to respond to at least one of Representative Sampson's questions. And you asked to identify a single area, and I would say, Representative Sampson, we wish it were that simple. The Perkins plan represents 7 areas, and just very briefly running through them. The first is defining clear career pathways with multiple entry points. Career exploration and career awareness, especially at the middle schools. Obviously resources to fund CTE programs at all levels, special attention to equipment that's aligned to industry standards. Increasing CTE access to all students by reducing barriers such as high school scheduling at the secondary level. Collaboration with industry to build partnerships that supplement all educational levels of the CTE workforce. Marketing CTE as a choice for all students, building parent awareness, and CTE teacher support that includes recruitment, certification, and professional development. Thank you for allowing me to introduce that attempt to answer your question, Representative Sampson. That concludes our remarks. We look forward to seeing a more fully developed narrative for this bill, and be happy to answer any questions that the committee may have or provide additional information.
Yes, sir. Representative Sampson has a question for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you, Mr. Hess. Thank you for being so well prepared with your list. Would you mind sending us that list, because I couldn't type fast enough?
I'm fully appreciative of our limitations with typing. We'll provide you with that list, and if you would be so interested, we'll provide you with some of the supporting documentation as well, Representative Simpson.
That would be wonderful. Yes, anything that can help us shape this. And I do have to apologize because I'm going to have to hop off for another meeting in a few minutes. And so any questions, hopefully my colleagues will pick up the ball and run with us. Thank you. Great to see you, Mr. Hess.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and good luck in your next committee work there. Representative Stearns, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Hess, thank you once again for being here with us. Are you familiar with a report done by a Blue Ribbon Commission in 2005 during the Baldacci administration, and particularly the recommendation from that commission towards CTE?
I'm going to have to say I am not Representative Stearns. My tenure on the state board began in 2016. And quite frankly, in the part of higher education that I was involved with, CTE was not on my radar, but we'll happily look into that for you.
Fair enough, sir. What I'd like to do is forward that to the committee and have the committee particularly look at recommendation number 7, which called for closing all CTE centers in Maine and establishing a 13th year where after students had mastered the learning results, they could then look into perhaps technical education. Yeah, I think it's good to have that historical perspective as to how did we get in the place that we're in right now. And has been so much emphasis on that learning results and mastery. Anyway, I'll be quiet and I'll forward that to Hillary. She'll get that out, but I think it's an important historical piece. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions of Mr. Hess at this time, folks? Seeing none again, thank you very much for your testimony here today, and we're sure we'll see you again, but thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
And next up, I believe is Paulette Bonneau.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your time. I'm assuming you can hear me okay. This is the first time I do this electronically, so thank you. So I am speaking, I'm Paulette Bonneau. I am the director of the Biddeford Regional Center of Technology as well as Biddeford Adult Education. And I am here to speak in support of Senator Woodsum's bill LD 313. LD 313 proposes a very thoughtful analysis of the process to allow all students to have access to career and technical education. The proposal is asking to look at secondary CTE holistically with the goal of having a clear pathway for students, reinforcing what we already have started with middle school CTE experiences and working through the grades. The analysis would address the current barriers, satellite programming, certification challenges and opportunities, funding, and an overall multiple career pathways while addressing the state's critical workforce shortage. I am supporting this bill because every year there are multiple bills that come before you focused on career and technical education. And this bill is an opportunity for us as a state to develop a strategic, viable, dynamic system of secondary career and technical education pathways, followed by the development of a sustainable funding plan. I think the time is now, and all of the citizens of Maine would benefit from the product that this bill could create. My testimony is short and brief, but I think this bill is really critical during this time and an opportunity for us to really solve some problems that are in front of us. Thank you for your time and your consideration. And I'm open to questions and open to help in any way to advance CTE in our state.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Any questions of Ms. Bonneau at this time? Seeing none, thank you very much for being here, and also thank you very much for your offer in terms of helping. We appreciate it very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.
Next up is Dana Doran.
And then Senator, before we do the neither, we do have two more people that are in favor, Chelsea and Dwight from the Department of Education.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I can see you and I think you can hear me. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Good. Good morning, Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Dana Duran, and I'm the Executive Director of a trade association called the Professional Logging Contractors of Maine. We represent logging and trucking contractors throughout the forest products industry. Logging and trucking in Maine is a $620 million component of an $8.5 billion industry, and logging and trucking in Maine directly employ 3,900 people. and are responsible for the creation of an additional 5,400 jobs. So over 9,000 jobs in the forest products economy are directly attributable to logging and trucking. Appreciate the opportunity to testify in support of Senator Woodson's bill, and also want to thank Representative Fecto and the other co-sponsors for their unwavering support over the years for CTE education. I understand, and I know there have been many speakers before you, that this is simply a concept draft, but it's probably the most well-refined concept draft I've seen thus far this session of probably hundreds of concept drafts. So I want to say that I think it does something different, and it starts a conversation. It's a starting point. It brings businesses to the conversation. It allows students perhaps a different opportunity as first year or second year students to get immersed in CTE education, and takes a look at alternative ways of providing CTE education. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So folks, I think around the horseshoe, so to speak, are familiar with what's happened in our industry. From 2011 to 2016, we lost over $1 billion of capital investment in forest products, along with 5,000 jobs. Over the last 3 years until the pandemic came up, we've seen $1 billion of investment. So I think things are headed in the right direction. However, workforce remains one of our biggest issues. In the spring of 2016, our congressional delegation created something called FOR-MAIN, the Forest Opportunity Roadmap, which was a planning process to move our industry from an $8.5 billion industry to a $12.5 billion industry by 2025. Goal 3 of FOR-MAIN is related to workforce. And if we're going to, add $4 billion of investment, obviously we need people in which to do that. And I represent the folks who start the process out. You could not have any value-added forest product in Maine without loggers and truckers. So to provide more specific context, we asked the University of Southern Maine's Maine Center for Business and Economic Research in 2019 to take a look at our employment needs over the next 10 years. They determined that logging and trucking alone are going to need 2,000 people over the next 10 years to replace retirees, and also for additional new entrants. The average age of a logger in Maine is 55 plus. In fact, 40% of our workforce is 55 years or older. So we are going to see a major evolution of our industry over the next 10 years. In 2015, funding was provided by the legislature to help us start a new community college training program. And I think that could be a model for the CTEs and for this conversation specifically. The community college system didn't add 7 different logging training programs. They added 1, but it's shared amongst all of the community colleges, and it moves from year to year. Now, that's not possible for CTEs, I understand, in rural areas, but sharing of resources is where we need to go. And we've created a pipeline pathway approach, and we need to do the same thing in CTEs. There are only 5 CTEs in Maine that have logging education. There used to be 20. If we're going to add people in our industry, we need more opportunities for folks to take a look at our industry, forestry, manufacturing, et cetera. So again, I applaud Senator Woodson and the other sponsors for bringing this forward. I think we need to take a deeper dive into how CTEs offer education, how they expose children to career opportunities. And I appreciate the opportunity to start the conversation. So with that, I'll conclude, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Excuse me, do we have any questions at this time for Mr. Duran? Sir, seeing none, thank you very much. We appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
And your continued support here. Thank you. Have a good day. And our next 2 speakers, I believe, were from the Department of Education. They're going to come on together, Sam, Dwight, and Chelsea.
I'm not sure, Senator. Let's do Dwight first, and then he can let us know if it's joint testimony.
Thank you.
Good morning. Yes, Sam, if you could let Chelsea in, that would be great. She's going to kick us off.
Thanks, Dwight.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Dwight and Sam. Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Chelsea Fortin, and I'm the Director of Policy and Government Affairs. And joining me today is DOE's State Director of CTE, Dwight Littlefield. We are here today representing the department, and we are speaking in support of Senator Woodsum's ongoing work on LD 313. We are pleased to share that Senator Woodsum brought the department into this conversation at the beginning of the current session. He has continued to engage the department and CTE leaders to ensure that this bill will address the workforce needs that you've heard about all morning with a thoughtful and multi-pronged approach. The department enthusiastically supports statewide expansion of career exploration, extended learning and internship opportunities, and robust career and technical education instruction being available to all Maine students. The department has also provided some proposed language to the sponsor to address some CTE certification needs, with which we believe would be best addressed by the stakeholder roundtable, which was mentioned earlier during the bill introduction. I'm now going to hand it to my colleague, Mr. Littlefield.
Great, thanks, Chelsea. And just to emphasize, we'll continue to work with the CTE centers and regions to address some of the challenges, especially around scheduling that you've heard come up. We'll engage with students and get their voice by welcoming students into the discussion regarding what needs are and how educators can make these important opportunities more widely available. We also will continue with the work of working with the state board and the stakeholders that we pulled together when we did the Perkins 5 reauthorization and address the challenges that Mr. Hess shared with you, the 7 challenges that came through those discussions that were earlier identified. And then to emphasize again what Chelsea has shared, Senator Woodsum came to us early, we shared some language, and we really look forward to working with him between now and the work session on finalizing that language and supporting this bill moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you both. I have a question from Representative Salisbury.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Littlefield and Ms. Fortin Trimble. I just had a question about the current role of advisory panels that happen within the CTEs. I think they're for each topic of study. There's an advisory group that's made up of business people and teachers and students. Can you talk about how that currently works and how that might fit into something like this?
Yeah, so each program that we have at each of our CTEs, so our carpentry program will have an advisory council that works closely with the instructor. And that council or that committee is made up of professionals that provide guidance on curriculum, what's being taught, to ensure that it's up to date. And also it becomes a networking and a resource opportunity even for students. So each one of our programs, that's one of our requirements, is that they have that council in place to provide that support.
Okay, so maybe it would just be enhanced along with this, talking about, so those roundtables enhance that opportunity for maybe some businesses expressing some concerns or some more opportunities they might suggest for courses or courses of study.
Yep. So absolutely, and our directors work closely with all of those to stay engaged with that in the local area and what the need to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the local area as well. So.
Okay, great. And we'll look forward to that. You said you had worked on some wording with Senator Woodsum.
Yes.
Like maybe that's something we'll find out at the work session. That'll be great. Thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Stearns, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question to both Dwight and Chelsea, I think. Are you folks familiar with the work done by an outfit out of Boston known as Burning Glass Technologies in regard to skills training for the workforce?
I'm not. I somewhat familiar when you say burning glass, but I'm not familiar with the details of what they do, Representative.
Oh, fair enough.
Representative, we are going to look into it and be very well versed by the work session.
That's why I asked the question, Chelsea. But to give a quick overview, a few years ago, I was on a New England commission, and we on workforce development and higher education. And we heard from Burning Glass, one of the things that they do, and they have done, is they have hundreds and hundreds of careers and what the skill set is in those careers, and how simple it would be if a person only had a course or two, how they could switch to a career that would really improve their personal finances. And I'll give I know this is question time. A quick example would be Sam, our clerk. Let's say, for instance, we've seen Sam's skill set. Let's say, for instance, he was getting paid $30,000 a year. And if he took one course or two courses in software, he could become an air traffic controller at $96,000 per year, rather than have a 4-year degree in aeronautical air traffic controlling. So anyway, Burning Glass might be a real good piece of the puzzle, their data in how we lift everybody into the workforce.
Thank you. And I see hands up from Senator Daughtry and Representative Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to build off of what Representative Stearns had just said, and I just sort of reminded me, I can't remember if this committee's actually seen the workforce report that Representative Stearns was part of through the New England Board of Education. So I think I'd ask Ms. Rissler if we could get that distributed to the committee. That was great work and really wonderful to see it on a regional approach. So I'd urge everyone to read that.
I will get that to Hillary.
Well, thank you both. Representative Brennan.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate that. I guess this is both for Mr. Littlefield and for Ms. Ford and Trimble. Clearly, we have this bill today, which is fairly sprawling and touches on a number of different issues that some are related and some aren't. And then we have other bills that will be before us later today. And we've had some other discussion about CTE. And I really respect the passion and the emphasis that Senator Woodson has brought to this discussion. But I'm still trying to get my arms around this and get this focused in a way that there seems to be the logical next steps and how we organize the work in a way to start moving in a direction to address some of the issues that seem to be reoccurring. So I just wonder if at work session, you and Mr. Littlefield will be in a position to try to provide more definition and more direction in terms of how we move forward with these different elements. Again, some that seem to be moving in the same direction, but some that seem to be competing with each other.
So Representative, I think something that Dwight and I have experienced throughout this session working with Senator Woodson is that Senator Woodson has brought many stakeholders across the education world to have this discussion, and many of the items that they've shared as areas of concerns are of course being addressed in many different bills using many different approaches. We are looking forward to getting that finalized language and being able to provide a thoughtful response for the committee around how all of these pieces do in fact fit together.
So I would take that response to mean that the work session on this bill and subsequent bills we have, there will be more definition and more direction.
That is our understanding, and we'll be prepared to be at those conversations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, folks, at this time? Seeing none, we want to thank you both for your testimony today, as well as your future work with us. Thank you. Have a good day. And we have Polly Couturier from the Maine Principals Association. She's going to speak neither for nor against.
It doesn't look like Dr. Couturier is with us, Senator.
Okay. So does that end the testimony at this time?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you, sir. So I will call the hearing on LD 313 to a close and open the hearing on LD 777. And that LD is an act to correct career and technical education funding, which I believe, good morning, Representative Fecto, how are you?
Not too bad for a Friday full of meetings. So I thank you, Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, members of the committee. I am asking you to do one of two options with LD 777. Either kill the bill, or, I mean, you could always decide that you want to unanimously pass all the other bills I brought before you. Use that as a vehicle. And so, but in all seriousness, after more discussions and everything that's happened, I'm asking you to kill the bill. It's no longer needed given everything that's happened.
Thank you, sir. So essentially, you're asking us if and when we do have our work session and vote that we ought not to pass.
Yes, Senator.
And if I could, we're going to hear from Senator Daughtry, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm wondering if the bill sponsor would be amenable. We do have the ability after the public hearing, after all the testimony has been heard, to move immediately into work session and dispose of this. I'm just wondering if that was something that the bill sponsor and the committee would be amenable after we've heard all of the testimony to try to, ensure completion on Bill's number up a little bit higher.
Senator, I definitely trust you to do the right thing as it deals with 777 that I am no longer really pursuing.
Perfect. Just a suggestion for after the hearing, if the chair would allow me to make a motion after the public hearing.
Thank you very much. We were scheduled to hear from Mr. Hess from the Board of Education. I'm not sure he's still here and planning on doing such.
Senator, at this time, we would just let our written testimony stand and suggest you proceed.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to close the hearing on, if there are any further questions, I'm sorry, before I do that, close the hearing on LD 777. And as we, Senator Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm wondering at this time if I can make a motion to suspend the rules and move immediately into work session on this bill, or I so move on LD 777. It's quite a number.
Yes, I am ready. I will accept that motion. And I do see a hand up from, is that seconded? Do I have a second? I do, from Representative Stearns. And any discussion at this time? So Sam is going to make it easier for us if we would. So we're going to call the roll, please. And essentially the motion is to vote ought not to pass on 777. Are we? No.
I think, Senator, you have to make, I think the motion is to go into work session first.
Thank you. Your folks are always keeping me going. All right. So
And for that, Senator, it's just if the raising hands is fine because you just need a majority. So I don't need to record each individual one.
thank you very much. So at this time, I'd like to move into a work session to address.
We have to take the vote on the motion first. No worries.
I should have passed that gavel off a couple of minutes ago. Yes, let's, would you repeat your motion, please, Senator Daughtry?
I would love to. I move we suspend the rules and immediately go into work session at this time.
And that was seconded by Representative Stearns. All those in favor, please, with your hand up. And any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. So I will now open a work session on LD 777 and entertain a motion potentially from Senator Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move ought not to pass on LD 777.
Thank you. And Representative Stearns.
I second the motion.
So the motion has been made to move to ought not to pass by Senator Daughtry and seconded by Representative Stearns. Any further discussion? Hey, Sam, I will ask that you call the roll, please. And again, a yay or yes vote will be voting ought not to pass. If you're in opposition, you would vote no.
All right, Senator. Senator Rafferty.
Yes, ought not to pass.
Senator Rafferty votes yes. Senator Daughtry.
Yes.
Senator Daughtry votes yes. Senator Woodson.
Yes.
Senator Woodson votes yes. Representative Brennan.
Yes.
Representative Brennan votes yes. Representative Millette.
Yes.
Representative Millette votes yes. Okay. Representative Dodge. Representative Crockett.
Yes.
Representative Crockett votes yes. Representative Salisbury.
Yes.
Representative Salisbury votes yes. Representative Stearns.
Yes.
Representative Stearns votes yes. Representative Lyman.
Yes.
Representative Lyman votes yes. And Representative Roach.
Yes.
Representative Roach votes yes. All right, Senator, it is unanimous of those present and voting in favor of the motion.
Thank you very much, sir. The motion is carries and approved, and I will close the hearing, the work session on LD 777. Work session is closed. And I would like to reopen a public hearing, and we will start a hearing as in relevance to LD 975, and that is an act to create an additional pathway to certify industrial arts teachers to foster career and technical subjects in Maine schools. And the sponsor and first person to address that will be Representative Fecto.
Thank you, Senator Rafferty. So good morning, Senator, Representative Brennan, my colleagues in the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. I'm Justin Fecto, and I proudly represent House District 86, which consists of the western and northern portions of Augusta. I stand in absolute and unapologetic defense of industrial arts, home economics, and technology and engineering educators out there. In the 129th legislature, I called industrial arts teachers the dinosaurs of education. But during a phone call, which was yesterday, with one of Maine's great T&E teachers, I was reminded that they're the unicorns of education. They're not extinct, but they're so rare, they're mythical. It'll be nothing but nearly unbelievable oral tradition, speaking about our kids beating down doors. If we get rid of industrial arts altogether, where they did things like cut and drill and design, build, imagine, innovate, and dream, all the while making a huge mess and sweeping it all up to the next class. In one classroom, they were able to flex geometry, physics, design, technology, and build their way into a future career in carpentry, auto tech, machine tool, engineering, and so much more. When then Senator Millett polled a group of students in the Education Committee in the 129th if they desired more access to the trades, 100% of those student hands shot up in the air. When I polled people back in 2019, it was between 92 and 93% who agreed that we need more trades in the schools. When I went door to door, nearly 100% of voters wanted more access to the trades for our students. If you go to a school with industrial arts, you'll see there's no problem with student numbers in those classes. When given the option in their home schools, students vote with their attendance. What's been getting in the way lately, it's not the silver bullet, it's not the only thing, are the Chapter 115 rules. And as this committee knows, I have absolutely no issue with Chapter 115 rules. And I hope you know a well-placed lie when you see one. What's been confusing for me is how and why we treat educators in our CTE schools differently than our home schools. So let's take a look at the rules for our secondary career and technical education teachers. You can find this by going to Part 2 of Chapter 115 rules. I've also included the link there for you. And this section starts on page 44. And so when we look at the endorsement eligibility pathway on page 46, we see the following is required. And so this, I'm starting here with eligibility pathway 2, where you can see that you have to complete an apprenticeship and then a minimum of 36 months of paid applied employment. For eligibility pathway number 3, you need to complete a 2-year degree or certificate and have 36 months of paid applied employment. Endorsement eligibility pathway 4 is a high school diploma or GED with 24 semester hours directly related to the endorsement area, with 48 months of paid employment. Endorsement eligibility pathway number 5 is again a high school diploma or GED with 36 months of paid experience and additional 36 months of paid employment or teaching in the endorsement area. When we got LD 1369 and the 129th to the House floor, we passed it the first time and then it was killed in a couple other votes. We were very close. I went back to the drawing board and increased the requirements for that bill. In order to receive a conditional certificate, not a professional one, in LD 1369, one needed a completed apprenticeship registered with a statewide or national apprenticeship and training organization, and a completed 2-year degree or certificate from a technical institution accredited by a national association of career and technical schools or similar organization. But I wanted to make sure that we could get this passed this time. So I took some of the criticism and went back and added the following that I bolded. So I added a section 3, which is completion of a minimum of 36 months of paid work experience or teaching experience in a career and technical endorsement area, of which a minimum of 12 months was at a supervisory level, and you completed it during the previous, in the 5 years immediately preceding application for conditional certificate or endorsement under this subsection. This puts conditional certification consideration ahead of even pathway 2 for a CTE teacher in one of our own centers or regions. This is a conditional certificate. This is not for a professional certificate. We aren't degrading the profession if we don't offer a professional certificate until they get a 4-year degree. This is for a conditional certificate. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to read all those sections, but I've colored them nicely for you all so you can see them and read them in the color that you so choose. The skills industrial arts teach and the career opportunities they help our students imagine are the ones giving students livable wages without a fancy $100,000 degree, should they so choose. Students are finding lots of success at Bath Iron Works And throughout Maine, where our plumbers, carpenters, welders, and electricians are aging out, our impending workforce shortage is real. This isn't about a political play. This is about being able to offer students opportunities so we can replace our aging workforce. As amazing as our CT centers and regions are, they can only serve about 5% of our student body. Industrial arts and technology and engineering in our home schools have the opportunity to serve 100% of our students. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's tear-jerkingly awesome. I'm encouraging all of you to watch this 2.5-minute video about a real certification issue, and I've supplied the YouTube link. And I'm also encouraging all of you to watch this 5-minute video about a general skills gap and educator gap, another YouTube link. These are from Maine educators. These videos show us that the issues facing the 700 endorsement are bigger than this bill. It would only take you 7.5 minutes, and you'd probably be able to enjoy an ice cold beer from Moderation Brewing Company. And so we don't have any more time to waste when it comes to this. The state is on 2 wheels when it comes to saving industrial arts. I'm Justin Fecto, a grown man and legislator, literally begging you to save industrial arts. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Representative Fecto. Any questions for the representative at this time, folks? Yes, Representative Crockett, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Fecto, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you also wanted to raise a Captain Eli's beverage to those who don't drink beer as well.
If it helps this bill, absolutely.
Well, I can't make any promises there, but appreciate that.
Any other questions, folks, of Representative Fecto at this time? Seeing none, sir. Again, thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate you being here and you for the work you're doing and continue to do. Have a great day. I believe we have 2 folks scheduled to speak for LD 975, and the first up would be Eileen King, followed by Wilson Hess.
Good afternoon, Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, and members of the Educational and Cultural Affairs Committee. My name is Eileen King, and Deputy Executive Director of Maine School Management Association, testifying on behalf of the legislative committees of the Maine School Boards Association and the Maine Superintendents Association in support of LD 975. School boards and superintendents have supported similar bills in the past and support LD 975 today because the need for skilled workers continues to grow and is essential to our economy. I'm not going to go ahead and read all of my testimony. We really support this bill. As most of our industrial arts classes and many of our schools start as early as 5th grade. Quite often they start in middle school. It piques an interest for those students that are hands-on learners. And it really does create a connection for those students to those trades that are offered and to the skills that they learn in these classes. From that interest, it promotes many more students to attend CTE schools and further their interest and eventually choose an industry where they will get certified and be successful. We know we need these skills, but it also really creates an interest at an early age for students that are going to want to be hands-on learners. And follow into the CTE programs and come out with a skill that they will be successful in as a productive citizen. So for all of those reasons and for everything else we listed in our testimony, we support this bill very much, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Representative Stearns has a question, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Ms. King.
Good morning, Representative Stearns.
And my question is this: would you agree that current or potential industrial arts classes in 2021 would often not resemble the traditional industrial arts classes of the 1970s in that they would become fabrication labs with a great deal of technology involved, etc.
I would envision that you would have a course of study that would combine some of the skills, the fundamental foundational skills of maybe our industrial arts classes in the and I wasn't aware of any in the 70s, but I can talk to them about the 90s when I was a principal and we had an outstanding industrial arts program. But I think some of the basic skills of measuring some of the geometry our students learned, but they didn't know it was geometry, the math skills that they learned that they didn't know were math skills, the scientific skills that they learned that there wasn't in a science class. I think those foundational skills would need to be taught, but then yes, we need to make sure that the skills that they're learning are address the 21st century needs of the industry.
Thank you.
Any other questions, folks, at this time? Ms. King, thank you again for your testimony. We appreciate you being here, and you have a great day.
Thank you.
I believe that we have one more speaker as a proponent, and that would be Mr. Hess. Welcome back.
Thank you, Senator Rafferty. If my visual skills are accurate, I note that Representative Brennan's not here, so I won't thank him. If I'm in error, please correct me. And honorable members of the committee, I'm Wilson Hess, Chair of the State Board of Education, testify on behalf of LD 975. As stated in earlier testimony, the State Board of Education believes Maine students should be afforded robust, high quality, and comprehensive educational offerings that lead to careers which may be enhanced by, but do not require, traditional 2 or 4 year advanced degree programs. LD 975, we think, is consistent with board goals in its strategic plan to increase access to CTE for all students by reducing barriers such as high school scheduling and secondary level special population accommodations. I would note that this bill relates to certification. I would indicate that the members of the Education Cultural Affairs Committee are aware that the State Board and the Department of Education have been working in concert since last spring on Chapter 115, a major substantive rule of the State Board of Education regarding the credentialing of Maine educational personnel. I'd further note that LD 1189, a bill currently before the committee for consideration, has been submitted to provide some corrective legislation for a number of proposed rule changes that were inconsistent with the existing statute, and is also a possible channel for other certification related bills as we move forward through the session. So we submit that the amended version of 1189 currently before the committee might readily include features of LD 975 and could perhaps be incorporated into the upcoming work session on 1189. We also just provide you some information that says that the Certification and Higher Education Committee of the State Board has reviewed the portions of 115 related to the industrial arts certification and a recommendation from the consensus-based Committee on Industrial Arts Certification. In the current iteration of the rule that we have, industrial arts certification is included in the the broad pre-kindergarten through grade 12 teacher certification as endorsement number 700, called Industrial Arts and Technology Education. Thank you for entertaining this testimony. I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee may have or provide additional information.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any questions at this time of Mr. Hess? Seeing none, sir, again, thank you very much for being here and your testimony. We appreciate your work.
Senator.
Every day. Do not have any other speakers at this time. Sam, that registered, or I see registered.
That's right, Senator. That's everyone.
Okay, so if no one has any additional questions, then I will call the public hearing on LD 975 to a close. And I want to thank Representative Fecto for his work and being here. You have a good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everyone.
Our next hearing will be relative to LD 1072, and that is an act regarding career and technical education and memoranda of understanding with community colleges. And I'd like to open that hearing. And that bill sponsor is Senator Pouliot, and I believe that the senator is here to lead us off in terms of testimony.
Senator Rafferty, I did get word from Senator Pouliot's aide that Senator Woodson will be introducing the bill for Senator Pouliot.
Okay, great. Thank you, Senator.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Rafferty. Representative Pouliot was called away, so he asked me to present this. Senator Rafferty and Representative Brennan and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. I, Dave Woodson, am speaking for Matt Pouliot, Senator, and request Senate District. He represents Senate District 15, which consists of the towns of Augusta, China, Oakland, Sydney, and Vassalboro. I present here LD 1072, an act regarding career and technical education and memoranda of understanding with community colleges. We all know we need more individuals going into the trade fields here in Maine. And we need to make it as easy as possible for students to get the training and degrees they need to do so. Students who attend our career and technical education centers in Maine often need further training beyond what the CTE program offer. The intent of this legislation is to allow career and technical education centers or regions to enter into a memorandum of understanding with local community college to provide career and technical education to the students served by that region, center or satellite program as an alternative organizational method of delivering career and technical education. The goal would be for students to earn credits at the community college and earn high school credits at the same time. Under the memorandum of understanding, the student would be accepted into the college program while in high school and attend classes at the college, but still be a student at the local high school and CTE program. The student would need to meet both the college requirements and the Maine Learning Results requirements to also graduate from high school. In addition, the agreement would be set up to allow the student accepted into the program to automatically be admitted to a Maine community college or University of Maine system after high school graduation. A real-world example of how this program could work and the difference between what is happening currently in the aspiration program is as follows. was shared with me by a constituent. The individual had a niece and nephew who graduated at the same time. One went to school here in Maine and did multiple classes through Aspirations program and did receive college credits for those classes, multiple classes through the Aspiration program. Okay, and did receive college credits for those classes, which did transfer with college credits, but still had to attend 4 years of college to complete the degree. The other student attended high school in Vermont, attended college full-time their senior year, and ensured their requirements to graduate high school were met. This student is graduating a year early because of all the credits they received, met the requirement for their degree. If this program is implemented correctly, a student may graduate from college a year early, saving the money and getting them into the field quicker. This would depend on how well the curriculum of the CTE program is aligned with the high school or higher education program, but at least it makes the opportunity available. And that's the end of his testimony. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Woodson. We were talking baseball before we started today, and it's nice to see your pinch hitting is still great. Any questions of Senator Woodson at this time? Seeing none, thank you all very much. And we do have some folks coming in behind the senator, and as soon as my second screen decides to come back on, we will we have three folks that are all speaking for, and it'll be first up will be Becky Smith. Ms. Smith will be followed by Eileen King, and then finally will be Wilson Hess. So Ms. Smith first. Welcome.
Hello. Just move my testimony onto the screen. Okay. It's nice to see you all today.
Thank you. You as well.
Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Becky Smith. I'm the Director of Government and Community Relations for the Maine Community College System. I'm here today to offer our support of LD 1072 with a suggested amendment. As we have testified to before, the Maine Community Colleges work closely with our sister CTEs. They are an integral and often under-resourced aspect of Maine's educational infrastructure. Our dual enrollment offerings, those taught at CTEs that offer college credit, are meant to start Maine's high school students on a path to fulfilling careers. Maine's community colleges offer these programs at a CTE when the CTE has adequate equipment and when resources allow. In fact, MCCS currently has over 200 articulation agreements with Maine's CTEs and offers 220 concurrent courses that will give students college credit without cost if the course is successfully completed. Attached, you will find additional information about our current MOUs and concurrent offerings, as well as a report that was presented to MACD a few months ago. LD 1072 permits community colleges to enter into memoranda of understanding with CTEs as an alternative way to deliver career and technical education. The bill, however, is proscriptive about what an MOU must contain if one is feasible. We respectfully suggest that the bill be amended to clarify the language in Section 2, with the addition of to students successfully completing that course or program. This past year, despite the disruptions caused by COVID-19, MCCS has worked with CTEs to include them in the enrollment software OnCourse that we share with UMS. In the past, only the sending high school has had access to the students' enrollment information. This and other collaborations are outlined in the attached documents. We all want direct pathways from CTEs to the community colleges. CTEs and community colleges have staff that work tirelessly to make this happen, but without adequate resources to train our students who want to enter the trades, healthcare, or other disciplines offered at both CTEs and main community colleges, it cannot happen. The bill before you funds this initiatives with the Aspirations Program budget. As you likely remember, this body appropriated an additional $2.5 million to Aspirations just to cover the expanded cost for FY21. Also, recent discussions about the cost of the Aspirations Program has reaffirmed the policy that only permits an individual student to take 12 credits at MCCS or UMaine system. This limit allows the program to stay closer to their appropriation level and to allow for fairer access across the state. Any expansion of offerings funded by Aspirations will need increased funding. However, the exact amount cannot be determined until and unless MOUs are developed according to this legislation. In closing, the fundamental issue that many of these initiatives, the ones that you've heard this morning and throughout this session, are trying to solve is that Maine has, to our detriment, underfunded and underappreciated technical education for too long at both the high school and college levels. This bill, like many others before you, seeks a solution to what is essentially a funding issue. Thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have either now or for the work session.
Thank you. And we do have a question, Representative Salisbury.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Smith. I just had a question, a small piece of this. Right now, like I have children that attended the vocational center here in Westbrook, and they received college credits from SMCC and received the certifications, the CNA phlebotomy and things like that. So what would be different about what currently happens when students are allowed, either both in high school and from the technical center, to take classes at a community college? What would be different about this?
Well, I think what I had a conversation with Senator Pouliot, and there may be people coming behind me who know sort of the real true intent behind his bill. I think what this bill is really trying to do is make it easier for those pathways to develop. Perhaps it would be to increase the credit limits and the funding and aspirations in order to allow more courses to be taken while in high school. And perhaps it would be some of the things it does talk about is aligning some of our offerings to what a CTE offers. And as I've said before in testimony, that really only works if the CTEs have the appropriate equipment and that the schedules mesh. And we've been working tirelessly to make that happen, to make sure to try, if possible, if there's a course that can be offered during the school day or during a time when a student would be at a CTE, so that they can participate and not miss out if they can't participate. So I think it's one of the ideas, these kind of wonderful ideas that are floating around about how to make this happen. Okay. And we're more than willing to be partners in whatever you guys work on. Looks like Senator Woodsum's bill, because it was a concept draft, we generally don't testify on concept drafts, but his bill earlier today talks a lot about the similar kind of issues, and we're just happy to help where we can.
Oh, great. And I just have a follow-up question. This might be something that we can talk about at the work session, Mr. Chair.
Sure, please.
So some wording in the bill says that about students may automatically enroll in the Maine Community College system or the University of Maine system to complete that. So I'd like to talk a little bit more, maybe at the work session, about how that would work. What would, if they were able to automatically enroll, what would be the impact of that, and how would we determine, or how would the colleges determine that to happen? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions at this time? Yes, Representative Millette has a question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to just piggyback a little bit off of Representative Salisbury's question. And Ms. Smith, I do not need an answer today, but I definitely would want to understand how this new section of statute in a new subsection A308 interacts with chapter 229, which is dual enrollment career and technical education programs. Now, we have fairly substantial language in this section of law, and I really am going to need to understand how this bill interacts with these programs that we've outlined in statute already. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other questions, folks, of Ms. Smith at this time? Seeing none, thank you very much. We appreciate your testimony and you being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. And I believe we have Eileen King, followed by Wilson S.
Good afternoon, Senator Rafferty, Representative Brennan, and members of the Education and Cultural Affairs Committee. I am Eileen King, Deputy Executive Director of the Maine School Superintendents Association, Maine School Management Association, testifying on behalf of the legislative committees of the Maine School Boards Association and the Maine School Superintendents Association in support of LD 1072. This proposal would give students an opportunity to meet Maine high school diploma standards and also earn community college credit. There are models for this already in existence, such as the Bridge Year. The Bridge Year allows CTE students enrolled at the United Technology Center in Bangor to take college level courses taught at UTC. And it appears that this bill would have students attend also community college as well. Coordinating schedules, as the bill references, would be key to making this work. Funding would come from the Aspirations Program, which received $2.5 million in the supplemental budget, in addition to its $4 million base. Early college, in whatever way is delivered, has a benefit of a lower cost to the students, while at the same time of growing the state's workforce in critical areas. And I'd like to support Representative Salisbury's comment that this is already happening in different places in the state, and it's also dual enrollment is also happening in many content areas, in many other content areas, and for our high school students. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. King at this time? Seeing none, we're going to say thank you again, and you have a great day.
You too. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Hess from the State Board of Education. Welcome back.
Thank you, Senator Rafferty, members of the Joint Standing Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. It's nice to be back. Speaking on behalf of the State Board of Education in support of LD 1072. The board has already stated today it's the important strategic position of CTE in its goals and priorities, and also for the use of Perkins 5 funds. And I would refer to the 5-year strategic plan for Perkins 5 federal funds in support of CTE, which endorses, quote, the better alignment of secondary and post-secondary CTE credit awards, end quote. And that commitment and that priority in Perkins 5 funding is currently embodied in a joint State Board of Education, Department of Education, Maine Community College System Memorandum of Understanding, which is reviewed and updated annually and is currently in its third year. LD 1072 is completely consistent with this joint initiative. I would make a sidebar comment that the state board is thoroughly impressed with the energy, initiative, and resources that the Maine Community College system has dedicated to this project. It's made great and continuing strides in implementing this umbrella memorandum of understanding. But as Representative Salisbury and Ms. King have indicated, it should be clear to everyone that, forgive me, Senator Rafferty, I've got to get the baseball piece in here. The playing field statewide is not yet as level as we would like it. Again, I believe the concept of LD 1072 here helps to further that very, very, very important goal. And I'll not belabor you with other tales and insights. If you're at this late hour ambitious enough to have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions, folks, at this time of Mr. Hess? No, well, sir, I see none at this time, but we're always thankful for your testimony and your visit with us each time. You have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Same to all of you, Senator.
So, Sam, you want to confirm, is that the end of our testimony, sir?
Yes, Senator, that's everyone.
Thank you. So I would like to close the hearing on LD 1072. And I'm nervous to go any further because as soon as Hillary comes on, I feel like I've forgotten something. So.
No, I'm
Welcome,
jumping on because I have a quick language review and I didn't want you to conclude the meeting without giving me an opportunity to jump in.
No, we will always be reviewed on our language.
Are you ready for me to start that now?
I am, thank you.
All right, so I'll be very brief. So this is LD 281, which I did email to you yesterday, and I'm gonna just quickly share my screen. So I did receive a comment that the intent of the motion was to have the department do the analysis of existing funding efforts for these areas related to student achievement gaps and report back on the effectiveness, issues, and recommendations, but that the majority did not intend to actually have the Department of Education develop a program at this stage. And so I'm happy to make that correction, but I want to make sure I hear from everybody on the majority report that that was the intent, was just to do the analysis at this point and not develop the program.
I will, I believe you're correct, but I want to be sure I am accurate. And I see a hand up by Representative Millette.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I believe that Representative Brennan raised this earlier this morning to confirm that was his understanding as well. I was the one who emailed that possible correction. So I'm glad that the sponsor of the bill remembers it similarly.
Yes, and I can confirm I did speak to Representative Brennan before we got started this morning, and that was his understanding as well. And so I will make that correction and bring it back in front of the committee. And that is
Thanks,
all I needed, and that's all I have for you.
Okay, great. Any other questions or yes, Sam?
Thank you, Senator. I just wanted to point out that we do have a confirmation hearing next Tuesday at 10 a.m. And I did already send out the confirmation packet and the one piece of testimony that I've received for that. Of course, if I get any additional pieces over the weekend, I will make sure I send those out first thing Monday morning, but I wanted you to at least have the information that I had so far, if you wanted to review it this weekend.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Anyone else with any announcements or questions or concerns? So I'm trying to, let me see if I can pull that up. So Monday, you said that was, so that's the 10th? No. Why am I not seeing that?
I think it's
Today's the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. We have, yes, educational. That's 10 o'clock one, and then that'll be followed by our public hearings. Okay. A lot going on there. All right. Well, thank you for that reminder, Sam. I appreciate it. And this is more of you're the tech guy, so I might be able to ask you. I've done something different. I'm not sure exactly. My computer is not allowing me to open any more documents that, they usually come and I have to download them, open them and print them. I'll ask you guys off. I'm just looking, is it possible to have a view only on it? But I'm just working on getting another device or this one cleaned up before we start again on Monday.
And if you're talking about the testimony, Senator, one thing that's been brought up a few times, brought to my attention, is that the testimony is not uploading immediately like it was prior. And that is because we got bombarded with so much testimony this week. So IT is working on that, and it will take up to 72 hours after the submission of a piece of testimony, because we got almost 100 pieces just for a single bill, which the website just wasn't designed to handle that kind of volume of testimony. So we're working on it. If you have any questions or concerns about particular pieces of testimony, I have digital and physical copies of every single piece that comes through. So feel free to reach out. I can send things, as an attachment, but it will be available on the public facing committee page, very soon, within 72 hours, they said, after submission.
Okay, thank you. Because I know mine right now, it's more as I'm not able to physically, when I go to download, it won't do it. So I think my computer needs to be cleaned, is bottom line. So,
And if you have time this afternoon, Senator, just call me or send me an email. I can set up a Zoom and you can screen share, and I can, work on it with you that way, if that would be okay.
wow, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah. Representative Stearns, followed by Representative Crockett.
Thank you, Senator Rafferty. I just wanted to share with you that you might be a victim of WCS, which is weekend computer syndrome. And whenever the temperature reaches a certain level, the best thing you can do is go outside for a couple of days, and Monday everything will be better.
Okay. I'll leave my computer at home, right?
Oh, yeah.
I have Representative Crockett, followed by Representative Dodge and Representative Roach.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say to Sam, make sure you get that work done before you head off to aviation school, and likely getting your salary tripled.
I have a Google tab open, Representative.
Right, just want to make sure you get that done.
Yeah, thank you. Representative Dodge, followed by Representative Roach.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and God forbid I never have a computer answer, but I was having a similar problem, and I closed everything down, opened everything up again, and when you click download and then click open, you sometimes can get around that for whatever reason. And everybody have a great long weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Roach.
And I could tell by Senator Rafferty's chuckle, he was dreading having this because he knew I was probably going to make fun of him a little bit. But I will say that my father-in-law is a well-known mechanic in our town. And every time I've ever brought up anything to do with the car, he used to tell me it's a loose nut behind the wheel. And I actually, the first time he said it to me, I actually went behind the wheel and was looking for a loose nut for a long time. So I'm not sure if that's what's happened to Coach Rafferty, but
well, I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. But in any case, folks, it's been a long week and a tough week, but I want to thank you all for your work. Sam and Hillary, and I know Sam Senford's not here, but I'd brag on you guys if I could, but I don't want to do it too loudly, because if others are hearing you know, someday your window might not be there. And we couldn't get by without you. So, but thank you for everything you folks have done this week. I know it's been a long one, and appreciate all you've done. And thank you also for being so diligent in my absence on Wednesday. And I know that was a long afternoon, unplanned on my part, but you know, they happen. You have a great day, folks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
You
all.
too.